Peugeot 407, 2004, 10 years of release. Good day. If you're wondering is it worth buying a Peugeot 407 and what problems you may encounter during operation, then you're at the right place. So even the chipped body of a Peugeot 407 will not rust quickly. There are no problems with the quality of metal and paintwork. However, it should be understood that a car that is 12-15 years old cannot look perfect in the first place. Shabby headlights, minor scratches and chips on the hood and fenders, and other minor flaws are commonplace for all cars in the secondary market. In the case of the Peugeot 407, added to this is a wounded front bumper. Not all owners were able to adapt to the long front overhang, which is why almost all used Peugeot 407s have traces of contact with high curbs in the lower part of the bumper. Worse, if the parking was completely sloppy and the bumper had time to fly off its mounts. The biggest problem with the Peugeot 407 is electrical failures. Moreover, if on some cars they happen quite rarely, then others have to call in the service almost monthly. The situation is aggravated by the fact that not every service can cure electrical failures in our country. In order to identify a minor malfunction, most garage craftsmen simply do not have special equipment. Official dealers have no problems with this, but the cost of their services will be appropriate. One of the typical electrical problems is the malfunctioning of the air conditioning system due to poor connections. Because of this, the air conditioner may refuse to work for no apparent reason. A variety of both gasoline and diesel engines were offered for the Peugeot 407, but in our market only a small part of them was officially available. Most often in the secondary market there are cars with a 1.8-liter engine which develops 116 horsepower and a 136 horsepower 2-liter unit. A 2.2-liter 160 horsepower unit is much less common. All Peugeot 407 engines have a time and belt drive. The official replacement interval is 90,000 kilometers, but it's better not to wait that long. Practice shows that it's better to change the belt every 70,000–80,000 kilometers. On the version with a 2-liter engine, it's worth replacing the pump along with the belt. At first, the owners of the Peugeot 407 were often forced to stop by the service and update the software. Initially, not the most successful software didn't have the best effect on the operation of the throttle valves. In addition, owners of 2-liter Peugeot 407 often observed the check engine warning light on the center console. In parallel with this, the engine lost traction and began to work unstably at idle. Together with the check engine, other warning lamps can often light up, but in most cases they only indicate that low-quality fuel has got into the car. However, if we are talking about walking speed, then there may be other reasons for this. For example, faulty ignition coils, clogged fuel and air filters, or clogged catalyst. Diesel Peugeot 407s were very popular in the Western European market. Our situation turned out to be diametrically opposite. Nevertheless, sometimes among used cars there are versions with a 1.6-liter 109 horsepower diesel engine. In Europe, this unit has been installed on many models and generally performed very well. If you fill up with exclusively high-quality fuel, then you should not expect serious problems. Another thing is that the mileage of diesel Peugeot 407 in most cases has long passed the mark of 300,000 kilometers, so replacing expensive injectors and high-pressure fuel pumps is nothing more than a matter of time. For the Peugeot 407, a 5-speed manual transmission was offered, as well as automatic transmissions with 4 and 5 stages. With regard to diesel modifications, they relied on a 6-speed automatic. Unfortunately, the infamous AL4 box was offered for the modification, which is widespread in our country with a 2-liter engine. This automatic concern Peugeot Citroën developed in conjunction with Renault. Specialists from 3 French companies have not been able to create a unit that could work at least 120–150,000 kilometers without problems. The first problems with the gearbox, jerks when switching, often arose even after a mileage of 70–80,000 kilometers. If after turning the ignition off and on the jolts disappear, then you can limit yourself only to flashing the ECU with the box and replacing the transmission oil. If the tremors do not disappear, it's worth preparing to replace the valve body. After replacing it, the box will last another 50–60,000 kilometers. There are no complaints about the clutch resource in the mechanical box. However, for those drivers who, when changing gears, are used to not fully pressing the clutch pedal, the synchronizers of the 3rd and 4th gears fail prematurely. The clutch itself, with careful operation, is enough for 80–100,000 kilometers. Suspension of Peugeot 407 is structurally very interesting and rather complicated. Surprisingly, at the same time, it turned out to be quite reliable, which is not so common. The silent blocks and ball joints in the suspension of a French car are changed separately. With careful operation, they can withstand up to 50,000 kilometers. Wheel bearings have approximately the same resource. Unfortunately, the Peugeot 407 turned out to be not the most popular model in our market, so the owners cannot count on a large number of cheap spare parts. This is also true for non-original spare parts. Questions may arise with the repair of the suspension. Many mechanics, seeing an unfamiliar complex structure, often refuse to work or demand a very decent money for it. If you are the owner, then be sure to leave a comment about this car. Your review will definitely help others with the choice of a car.